Hello and welcome to Baking on a Budget. Now, this time what we have is a very simple peach Melba recipe. This is a peach Melba in a sweet pastry case. It's going to be absolutely beautiful, very simple to make. We've got everything we need to make it over here, and this is going to be a beautiful dessert for a nice hot summer afternoon. So first of all, let me tell you exactly what we've got here, the quantities involved and how much all of this cost. To begin with, for the pastry case, we have 200 grams of plain flour, that's 10 pence. We have 30 grams of icing sugar at about 3 pence. We have a pinch of salt, which obviously we can't really cost. We have 50 grams of butter at 38 pence, 50 grams of lard at 10 pence, and 1 egg at 14 pence. Now for the filling, we're going to use about 100 grams of raspberry jam at 25 pence. We're going to use 1 tin of sliced peaches at 8 pence. And we are going to use about 400 ml of whipping cream at £1.78. So if we add all that together, it comes to £3.86. But we're going to get 8 excellent slices out of this peach Melba, making each slice 48 pence. So let's get to it. First thing to do is to make the sweet short crust pastry. What we want is 200 grams of plain flour into the bowl. I'll put a little bit of salt in there as well. This is the same as we made for the Bakewell tart a few weeks ago. Same sort of pastry case, and that was delicious, so hopefully this will be the same. Right, we've got our fats in there. Now again, what we want to do is just rub these in. This is going to take a little while. I shall come back when it's done, and then we'll put the rest of this pastry together. Okay, and a good bit of mixing later, this is what we're after. Something fine breadcrumb. May still be a few lumps in it. This is not going to hurt the pastry at all. This is going to be absolutely okay. So we want something like that. Now to that I'm going to add the 30 grams of icing sugar, like that. And I'll just fold that in with my spoon. Very good. Yes, young Isla. Young Isla's in the kitchen again. She's just fascinated by the baking process, which is great. And for this, to bring this together, we're going to use an egg. Now, as I said before, when making the Bakewell tart, if we need a little cold water as well, that's okay. We can add that. But normally the egg itself will bring this pastry together. Although that was a fairly small egg, so, you know, take it as it goes. Right, we'll get the egg in there. And now we just want to bring this together with a spoon. And once it sort of comes together and all of the flour is dampened a bit, you can push it together by hand and just see the consistency of it, the texture of it. And if it seems a little dry, as I say, a little bit more cold water. If it seems like it'll hold together and be okay, then it'll be okay. And I'm just going to get my hand in that and see if we can get all of that dry stuff pulled together. I think that's going to be okay. I don't think we're going to need water in that. That is coming together quite nicely. Always best to do with hands, I find. You can sort of gauge the consistency of it. Right, I just want to get it off the fingers, pick it all up from the bowl like that. And that's feeling really nice, actually. The consistency of that feels very nice. It's quite soft. It's going to roll out nicely. But the first thing we want to do with it is get it in the fridge for about minimum half an hour. I'll probably leave that in there for an hour because there are other things I'm baking today as well. So that can sit in the fridge for about an hour. Then we'll get it back out and make a beautiful pastry case for this marvellous peach Melba recipe. Okay, and a good hour later, excuse me, we have pastry back out of the fridge. And we're just going to roll this out now. Now what I'm going to do is put this in I'm going to make this in this, I think this is a 9-inch flan tin. I may have underdone it on the peaches a little bit, may need a tin and a half in there. If I do, I'll correct the pricing and everything for this later. We'll just have to see how they go. But what we want to do right now is make the pastry case. This pastry's gone nice and hard in the fridge, and that should roll out no problem. And that should do it. Right, I'm saying that will fit the tin, so I'm going to curl it up onto the pin. And we'll get our tin and plonk it over the top. Very good. Now, as I said before with the Bakewell tart, we want to lift this up and just let it sort of relax itself into the tin. And I'm pushing that down just with the flat of my finger to get that right down into the corners and into the flutes of this tin. Yep, that will do me fine. Right, so again I'm just going to cut the excess off here, just with the back of the knife. We will make something else with this. Nothing will go to waste. But that's looking good there. Now I'm just going to prong the bottom of it. We are going to get a little piece of greaseproof paper to put over it. And then once again our trusty baking rice can go in there. Press that down, make sure it's all good. And then this is going in the oven at 170 for about 20 minutes. We'll check it after 20 minutes. If it's browning up and crisping nicely, that will be it. What we have here is the casing out of the oven. And this is looking good, it's looking nice and crisp around there. One thing I'm going to do with it first, I always like to do this, I'm just going to give it a quick sort of egg wash on the bottom. And then I'm going to pop it back in the oven for another 10 minutes, just to let that brown up and crisp on the bottom of it as well. Okay, that's had about another 10 minutes in the oven. It has browned and crisped beautifully on the bottom, and I've given this time to cool. So what we're going to do is get it out of the tin. Right, there is our pastry case. That is absolutely beautiful, nice, light and crisp. And we're just going to leave that on there for now. We'll transfer it to the plate once we're finished. But that's nice and cool. So I think we're ready to get on with this. So first thing we want to do, just make some space for myself. I'm going to put some raspberry jam on. Now I know the original peach Melba would be fresh raspberries, blitzed in a food processor, mashed up, and then some icing sugar added to it. This would work out very expensive for baking on a budget, so we're going to do it this way. This is raspberry jam, and I'm going to get a good coating of this over the bottom of this case. Also with the peaches, I believe the original recipe here was to poach the peaches in a sort of syrup, and again they would be fresh peaches poached in syrup, and then you can either put ice cream with this or normal cream. Now, as I say, this is a cost option, and what we are doing here is making something which will have a beautiful taste of a peach Melba and very inexpensive to make. Right, that's looking good to me. Nice layer of jam on the bottom of there. Let me look at this. 400. Well, I may have used 100 grams there of this jam. I believe my recipe calls for 100 grams. And just eyeballing the jar, I've not weighed it, but if we just look at the jar, there's about a quarter of it gone. So that is about right there. So next we have the peaches. This is just a tin, very simple tin of sliced peaches. And what we're going to do is arrange these on the bottom of this flan tin, like so. Now, as I say, we may get the whole thing covered with this single tin. If we don't, I'll use part of another as well. Because what we want is a good layer of peaches right the way around this tin. Now I'll just continue with them, and I can see right now that I am going to need a few more, but that's okay. I did buy 2 tins just in case. Looking good. This one here, a little bit big, we'll just cut that one in half. Get that in there. Oh, look at that. There's probably one more slice we want. I'll get a couple and I'll bunch it up a bit more. So if you can see this, I've got another 3 pieces of peach here out of a tin. Pity we didn't get it all out of one, but I would like to have the base of this entirely covered. And I think that there is looking very nice indeed. So the cost option on that, you're talking about 3 slices of peaches. There's probably another 10 pence in there. Do this again as a little bit of a guesstimate, but I have here 300 ml of whipping cream, and I'll try the 300 first, Again, the recipe has called for 400. I'll try this 300. I'll whip that up, see if we've got enough to cover this. If not, we'll use a little more cream. It's up with this hand whisk. Okay, that's it about there. The cream is whipped. That's looking beautiful. Look at that. And what we want to do is just get this on top of here. I'm saying there's going to be enough here. So you see the alteration of the recipe as we go. We've got few more peaches. We needed a few more peaches, but a little less cream than I had anticipated. But we're going to get this beautiful cream layer on here, and I want to push that right down, get it right between all of those peaches. Absolutely beautiful. Right, in fact, I'm going to say we probably used about 250 on the cream there. It was a 300ml jug. There's still some left, so I'm going to say we used about 250ml of the cream. That off. I have some of this sort of strawberry sauce, and I think we'll just put a little bit of that on top. Randomly, like that. That, folks, is going to be superb. I'm going to stick this in the fridge for a little while, let it chill right the way down. Then I'm going to take a slice of it and we're going to have a taste. Okay, that's that time to chill a little in the fridge, and look at that. That looks absolutely scrumptious. Peach Melba, very simple to make, as you've seen. What I'm going to do is take some of that off there. Oh, that pastry is beautiful and crisp. Underneath, we're going to get some of the cream on there. We're going to get some of the peach on there. That is marvellous. That is truly marvellous. It's been a really hot sunny day here today, and a nice dessert like this on such a day. Scoop some more of that up. That is one beautiful and simple peach Melba in a sweet short crust pastry case. The whole thing cost me £3.86 or thereabouts. As I say, there was a couple of more peaches went in, but there was less of the cream went in, so, you know, split the difference. But that means this slice of peach Melba here was 48 pence. And I would say worth every penny. You can do this without the crust and just make it in a glass bowl or something like that. But I think the crust adds something to it. And that nice crispness and sweetness from it is absolutely delicious. So there it is, an absolutely beautiful summer dessert. If you've enjoyed the video, do give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more very simple to put together recipes like this in the future, always very inexpensive and always absolutely delicious, then do consider subscribing to the channel. In the meantime, I'm going to polish off the rest of this beautiful peach Melba, and as always, I thank you very much for watching. Look at that, beautiful.